Hey, what's up, guys? Steve Konerjeski here. Starting up my weekly, maybe even do it more frequently. I call it Sticks with Steve. And we're just going to talk. We're going to chit chat. We're not going to bash. But anyway, if you smoke cigars, this is a La Palina Maduro. I highly recommend it. Has a nice oily Mexican wrapper, and its filler is Nicaraguan and Peruvian blend. Medium to full bodied. Good draw. First time having it, and I enjoy it. And I'm a medium to full bodied smoker. Cigar smoker, that is. So let's chit chat. For many of you that don't know, my main occupation is I am a business owner. I have owned my company, Squeegee Clean, since 2004. And I employ normally 8 to 10 people a year. Of those 8 to 10, 6 of them are full-time employees, and the other ones are seasonal workers. I also am a real estate investor, and I also dabble with stocks and such. But I think we're, as a country, in major trouble. And what happened with the 2020 election was a debacle. And I hope that in time, the truth reveals what 70% of the country believes, in that is the election was rightfully stolen from Donald Trump. I would say that I would normally blame Democrats for electing Joe Biden. However, I don't believe that Democrats elected Joe Biden. I don't believe that Republicans elected Joe Biden. I believe that Donald Trump won the election with close to probably 82 million votes, which is what I've been saying all along. And that the votes that Biden received, other than the people that did vote for him, probably closer to 68, 70 million, were in response to the fraudulent mail-in ballots, which occurred due to the China virus, which Joe Biden just wrote an executive order banning the term. What sense does that make? You tell me he's not compromised by China? Okay. But yeah, if it wasn't for the China virus, which was deliberately released by China from the Wuhan lab, in correlation with our deep state, which is the deep state of the world, aka the cabal, to destroy Donald Trump's presidency and his chances of election by ushering in the mail-in votes in many states, which were the swing states, which were unconstitutionally approved by Supreme Courts and by secretaries of states rather than the House and state legislatures, which is supposed to vote on. It was just a freaking debacle. We knew it was going to happen. And here we are. 1 week into the Biden presidency. And we have 37 executive orders. Wait, did I say that right? I think it's either 37 or 27. So if it's 27, my apologies. But we have 27, 37. We have a copious amount of executive orders within the first week of the presidency. Now I want to show you something. This says that there's only 19, but these just haven't been published yet to the Federal Register, which I'm sure if we update this in a couple days, you'll see the remaining. But I just want to go to Donald Trump here. I want to show you something. I believe it was 2018. In 2018, in the whole entire year, he published 37. Think about that for a second. They called Trump a dictator. When Trump was first elected, the experts in the media said that the stock market was going to crash, that we were going to be in war with North Korea. Two things that Donald Trump was very good at in his 4 years in presidency was exposing the swamp and proving that these experts, polling experts, foreign relations experts, military experts, economic experts, medical experts, they all don't know what the hell they're talking about. They were all wrong. Sure, a few of them were probably right. Even a freaking blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But for the most part, they called his presidency completely wrong. And the mainstream media had to push narrative after narrative after narrative after narrative so that sheep, people who are not free thinkers, couldn't turn any other way and had to believe the garbage and nonsense that was coming out of the mainstream media. And that all brings us to where we are today. Sure, Trump wasn't politically correct, but he was correct on a lot of things. He was correct on China. He was correct on how we've been taken advantage of by NATO for a very long time. He was correct on the economy. He was correct that the swamp is deep. I can go on and on. We have historic Middle East peace deals, which nobody thought would ever occur. We haven't been in a new war in 4 years. Let's see how long it takes before we're in a war. But that's what the cabal wants. That's what this world order wants. They want us at war. They want us in the Middle East. Because in the Middle East, there's one thing: the petrodollar, petroleum. How do you think the Bushes got rich? Then ask yourself, why were we in Iraq? Why did we invade Iraq? For weapons of mass destruction, remember? Did they ever find them? Nope. Now, is Saddam Hussein a fantastic person? I don't know. I never met him. Did the media tell you that he wasn't? Yep. So here we are, 1 week into the presidency. We got, let's just say, around 30 new executive orders, many of which relate to COVID. And Biden just came out and said that there is absolutely nothing that we can do. Let me repeat. Absolutely nothing that we can do to change the trajectory of the virus over the next several months. But yet in October, he was saying that we were 8 months into the pandemic and Donald Trump and his administration still didn't have a plan. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Joe Biden, and let me tell you, viewers, if it wasn't for Donald Trump's vast knowledge of the private sector, we would not even have a vaccine right now, which I don't believe in. But there would be no possible way that within 10 months of a virus that is supposedly new could anyone develop a vaccine. And now they're saying the vaccines are our only way out of this and we must mask up. Well, haven't we been masking up for the past 10 months? Not me. I'm anti-mask. My body, my choice. Only time I ever put a mask on is when I'm forced to. And when I mean forced, like really forced. And that's probably since April, about 1%. I visit cigar lounges. I go to restaurants. I go to retail stores. I go to home improvement stores. I go to fast food places. I go to gas stations. I have people at my house. I've had people at my house over the summer. I've gone to other people's homes. I am around people who've had the virus. And maybe it's just dumb luck. Or maybe it's that I'm healthy. I don't know. I don't like to toot my horn, but I have been taking, since this occurred, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C every single day, a zinc supplement, and a vitamin D supplement. My wife has been doing the same thing. She's more masked than I am because she doesn't like the looks that she gets. But if all these people are wearing all these masks, then where the hell are all these cases coming from? Don't tell me it's the people that aren't wearing the masks, because 74%, the last study that I saw, 74% of the people who contracted the virus reported wearing masks regularly. And I'm sure if they're wearing a mask regularly, the people that they associate themselves with are wearing masks regularly too. But anyway, let's get off that topic. So there's nothing that he can do over the course of the next couple months to change the trajectory. But yet we have all these executive orders about COVID. Then we have executive orders which basically have killed our energy independence in America. We were energy independent. Do you know what that means? I don't think some of you can grasp that. That means that we didn't rely on anyone any longer for our own energy supply. That's electric, that's fossil fuels, that's gas, that's petrol, oil, that's everything. We got that through means of fracking, drilling, offshore drilling. We used to be 100% reliant, I don't want to say 100%, more like 80 probably, on the Middle East oil. We don't even need it anymore. Never met a man that likes pens so much as Joe Biden. He freaking loves pens. But you want to know what? Joe Biden doesn't love pens. The people who are pulling the strings love the pens. Because he's a puppet, and we knew that. Do you really think an 80-year-old or 78-year-old man really wants to be in this office right now? I can tell you he doesn't. You want to know what, though? He's there for one reason and one reason only. Blackmail. Come on. Was he the best candidate that they had that they could run against Donald Trump? Hell no. Why not? Why not Mayor Pete? Really exuberant guy. Really likable. Why not him? Why Joe Biden? I'll tell you why. Remember all those pay-to-plays with Ukraine? Remember all those things from Hunter getting money from China, Moscow? Yeah, there's this thing in Washington, D.C. that runs deep. It's called blackmail. And a lot of people have it on a lot of people down there. And the people who don't have any blackmail on them are the outsiders in Washington. And the people who have the blackmail on them, who have done bad things over their lives, who know something about something, who know something about something else, and those people know it as well, and others know it. Well, yeah, it's a club. It's like called the Big Boys and Girls Club of Washington, D.C. They hated Trump. He was an outsider. They couldn't stand him. He came in and shook things up. I can guarantee you one thing. Never again will there ever be an outsider that runs for president as long as the cabal runs things. the deep state, not the people that you're seeing in Washington, D.C., the people who are pulling the strings behind closed doors. Hell, people are saying that Barack Obama is a basement president. He's not even in the basement of the White House. He's right under Joe Biden's bed. He's that close. You might not see Obama, but through Susan Rice, come on, you know who she was? Please. She didn't have to be voted on. They gave her a position where it wasn't even voted on. Yet she has so much power in this administration, it's not even funny. And her far left wing agenda, well, we're going to let it all play out. And you're going to see what's going to happen. But I can't even blame Democrats because they didn't vote Joe Biden in. This is all deep state's doing. But for the Democrats and Republicans and independents that did vote for Joe Biden, you are part of the problem. And you're going to be seeing that. So we have executive orders all over the place. Energy independence, which is completely wiped off the playing field. Now we're going to be energy dependent. Kill the Keystone XL pipeline. All good paying jobs, union jobs. Thought Joe Biden was for the unions. Thought the unions loved Joe Biden. What did he do? Turned their back on him, just like Obama did to the black community. Now we have climate change with John Kerry as I'm looking at him on the TV. Greatest exponential threat to human life. Ooh. You wait and see. Next thing you know, it's going to be the masks are going to be required for climate change, to protect yourself from climate change, because the air particles in the environment are so thick that they're going to affect your respiratory system. Yeah, I'm just making stuff up, but I want to doubt it at this point in time. But the main reason I wanted to talk today was because as a business owner, I understand economics. I understand the law of supply and demand. And I understand one thing, that the federal government needs to stay the hell out of the private sector and mandating what and what not they pay their workers. There shouldn't be a maximum federal minimum wage. Yes, $7.25 an hour. Come on, we got to increase that. I agree. But federal wage needs to be across the board, but the states really need to set their own wages because each state in each area is different. If you live in New York City, the cost of an apartment is a lot different than if you live in York City. Okay? So why regulate something across the board when we have so much discrepancy in income across the board? Stay the hell out. Everything you've gotten yourself into has turned into nothing but a debacle. Healthcare, debacle. Like your doctor, keep your doctor, right? Yeah, okay. Just like, oh, I'm not going to ban fracking. Said that in October on a freaking debate stage. Why didn't the moderator push back? Why didn't he say, well, Joe Biden, you are on tape, and here are the tapes. Oh, the first thing I'm going to do when I get into office is I'm going to ban fracking. You're damn right I'm going to. He said it. Not once, not twice. He said it numerous times. He was on tape. This shit's crazy, people. It's crazy. We're living in a crazy world. And I really feel for the future of our country. Not because of Democrat versus Republican, but because of Washington versus America. They live in their tiny little bubble down there, and they don't understand what the hell goes on outside of that little bubble. 90% of them are millionaires. 90% of them have been in office for a long time. They got rich off the taxpayer's dollar, and they just keep getting rich. And then when they get out of office, they use their power and their swag to deal with foreign countries to get money, to raise capital for lobbyists. And it's a sin, and it needs changed. And we, the people, need to change it. So anyway, Joe Biden's one of his executive orders, other than killing basically the fossil fuel industry, fracking and natural gas, was the federal minimum wage for federal. Okay, so for federal employees, the federal minimum wage is $15 an hour. Now we got Bernie Sanders. There he is. We love this guy, right? What a joke he is. Communist. Bernie says that the widespread suffering caused by the pandemic-induced economic crisis has made it morally imperative to increase the U.S. minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now I want to show you something, because as I said, I am an employer. I know this shit. All right? Okay. Current federal minimum wage, $7.25. So we're just going to say, you know what? Let's not increase it by 25%. Let's not increase it by 50%. Let's not increase it by 75%. Let's just go, we're going to double the freaking minimum wage. Federal. Okay, so that means across the board. That means that little Johnny, 16-year-old Johnny, who has his first job at McDonald's, flipping fries and burgers, is going to be making $15 an hour. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Johnny's not going to have a job at McDonald's, because McDonald's is going to invest in AI. If you don't know what that is, get used to it. Artificial intelligence. You see it at your damn grocery stores all the time. You really need a cashier to check you out? How many jobs has that killed? Well, guess what? You keep putting the minimum wage up, those cashiers aren't going to be there all that often. Or I should say for that much longer. So let's go right here. I want to show you something. Ba-ba-boom. I live in Pennsylvania. Let's do this hourly. You ready? Now I'm just going to go across the board here. York, PA. Let's do this weekly pay. Not going to get too crazy with the allowances. Just trying to do this for demonstration purposes. All right, you make $10 an hour, 40 hours a week. Your estimated take-home pay is $317. Gross paycheck, of course, is $400, 10 times 40. Taxes, right here. Federal, state, local income, $52. Your FICA, state insurance and taxes, $31. So at the end of the day, you take home 79.33% of your gross. Let's increase this to 15. Got to reload the page. Okay. Taking home 470, right? Gross is 600. Taxes have just went up $30. This just went up $16. Now you say your take-home pay is $470. Your take-home salary is now 78%, not 79%. Okay. So you say, well, let's go back to $10 an hour. you're making, as I look at my calculator here, 470 minus 317, 153. Okay. $153 more. The government is making, that was 80, and that was 60, so an additional $60 a paycheck, a week off of you. So now you'll say, well, Steve, you're still making $153 more a week. You think so? The only one that's going to benefit from a $15 federal minimum wage is the government. And this proves it right here, and I'm going to show you why. For every single employee, let's just say there's 2 million employees, they're going to make off of a $15 per 40-hour payroll period, an additional, let's go back here, 52. So yeah, 52 and 31. 52. Let's just say for number keeping purposes, the government makes an additional $50 per person off of raising the minimum wage from to $15. Now that's just based upon someone who had a $10 per hour job. Okay. So it changes if it's 12, 13, 14, 8, 7. Okay. We're just using these numbers for demonstration purposes. So if we say 50 times, let's say 200 million. What's that? 10 billion. They make an additional 10 billion in tax revenue. Government makes 10 billion in tax revenue. The person makes an additional 153 a week times it's an additional $16,000 a year. Now here's why that number doesn't make sense. I'm going to go over here to the employer taxes here. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Let's go to annual wage. So we got, where were we? 470. Let's do it this way. 15 times 600 times 52. Let's just use this number, 31,200. Yep, you need this. Mine's pretty high because I have seasonal employees. Let's just say it's 0.05. Here's how much the employer, because the employer has to match certain taxes. That's how much the employer really pays that employee. So if an employer has 20 employees that were making $10 an hour that now go to $15 an hour, that is what? $2,400. So that's $40,000 a year that the employer has to pay because that person's wage had to get raised from $10 to $15. Now, you're going to be damn foolish if you don't think the next thing's coming. What about the people who currently make $15 an hour? And the minimum wage is $7.25. Do you think that they're going to be accepting a $3 raise? What about a $4 raise? What about a $5? You'd be lucky if you don't hear them say, well, since minimum wage has doubled, I think my wages should double. Now, what about the people making $20 an hour? What about the people making $25? What about the people making $30, $40, $50, $60, so on and so forth? Do you think that their wages aren't going to have to automatically go up because the minimum wage, federal minimum wage, increased? So now we have a snowball effect. So you increase the federal minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour. So now Johnny flipping fries and burgers down at McDonald's in York, Pennsylvania is making $15 an hour, being 16 years old, working part-time as a freaking student. You don't see what's happening here, do you? Snowball effect. Number one, businesses that could are going to start relying on AI, artificial intelligence, aka robots, aka checkout machines, aka scanning robots that go up and down the aisles. They're going to eliminate jobs. Why? Well, it just showed right there. If you have 20 employees and you were paying them $10 an hour, and all of a sudden it costs them up to $15 an hour, you now have to absorb an additional $40,000 a year just in additional taxes. Plus, the federal government made those additional taxes. So, AKA, what's going to happen? The cost of goods sold is going to skyrocket. People are going to lose jobs. The cost of goods sold is going to skyrocket because the people who are now making 15 are going to have to make about 25. And the people who are making 20 are now going to have to make about 30. People who are making 25 are now going to have to make about 40. And that's low because they're going to argue, well, if the minimum wage doubled, my wage should double too. And as an employer, you're going to have to sit there and say, well, what do I do? So I'm going to use this as an example for you. My name is Steve. I own a window cleaning business. If I charge normally $5 per window to clean the window inside and outside, and I pay my employee $12 an hour to perform that job, okay? And that employee has to now go from $12 to $15 an hour. I, as a business owner, am not going to absorb those costs. I, as a business owner, are simply going to pass those costs on to my end consumer, which is AKA the customer, which means that their cost per window now just went from $5, say, to maybe $6, maybe $7. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But when we say, well, it's only $1 per window, well, when you have 40 windows in a home, their cost just went up $80 simply because the federal government says, we feel it's fair that federal minimum wage has to go to $15 an hour. And now what about the employees that said that we're already making 15 or we're already making 20? Let's talk about food. The guy who's driving the truck might already be making $20 an hour. Well, all of a sudden, the guy who's loading the truck might be only making 12. Federal minimum wage gets raised to 15. All of a sudden, the guy who's driving the truck says, whoa, federal minimum wage 15. My wage has to be higher. He's going to go to his employer. Employer's going to go, well, what do I do? Do I make his wage higher or do I get rid of him? Well, you need him. You can't get rid of him. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to increase his wage. And then we're going to increase the manager's wage, who is arranging for all of these products to be logistically transported. And then when you get to the food finally gets, from the time it gets loaded onto the truck, drove to the restaurant, then the restaurant owner is going to go, well, my dishwasher, which was making $10 an hour because he's as 4 bouts in prison. I don't know. I don't want to be like that because whatever, but let's just say he just doesn't have the cleanest record in the world. So now this guy has to make 15. Well, what about the cook who was already making 20? Well, now the cook who's making 20 has to make 25 to 30. And what about the manager who was managing all this, who was making 30 an hour? Now they got to make 40 an hour. So now you go, and the restaurant employee goes, or the restaurant owner goes, well, shit, my cost of food has gone up significantly. My cost of labor in order to be able to cook the food and clean the dishes has gone up significantly. And I'm not going to absorb that cost. I'm going to pass that cost on to my customer. So then the burger, which was once $10, is now $14. So people, what I'm getting at here is that this cost just keeps getting passed on to the consumers. Hence the additional $153 a week that this employee is now making really doesn't mean the employee is going to be making more money. In theory, they're going to be making more money, but the cost of goods sold is also going to go up. It's a very simple law of economics. And the only person or people that will benefit from this, i.e. the government, because they're just the end user who just sits back and collects the taxes. That's it. Point blank, period. No other way to argue against it. Just because you make an additional $153 a week doesn't mean that you're $153 a week richer, because when everything else around you, including your gas, your tires, your housing, your food, your clothing, your internet, your cell phone, when all that goes up, I really believe that those numbers are going to far exceed the $153 more that the employee's making. And hence, and as I've been saying, the only one that benefits is the government, both the state, local, and federal governments. They benefit. They love it because they're going to be making more tax revenue. Yeah, so they can increase their wages and their pensions. And this guy right here, this guy who's never worked a real job in his life, yet he still manages to have, I think it's 3 homes, honeymooned in the USSR, Bernie Sanders. Yeah, he's pushing this. And guess what? You have a Democratic-led House and a Democratic-led Senate. So if you think that this isn't going to pass, I give that probably a 99% chance of not occurring, meaning that it's going to pass. So take it from the horse's mouth. I'm a business owner. Okay? Minimum wage is set for a reason. For entry-level positions. Johnny, who's 16, going to school full-time and working part-time, flipping burgers and fries at McDonald's, does not deserve to make $15 an hour. He's still living under his damn parents' roof. Okay? Now, if that's Johnny's ambition to be a McDonald's worker for the rest of his life, that's Johnny's problem. That's not your problem or my problem. Okay? Entry-level positions. All right? When people first start coming working for me with no skilled experience whatsoever, they start off at about $12 to $13 an hour. Okay? None of my employees make under $15 an hour. Why? Because they're skilled, all right? But now if the federal minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, I can assure you one thing, all those employees are going to come to me and say, I want a raise. And then I'm, as a business owner, I'm going to have to make a decision, sit there and say, well, no, I'm not going to give you a raise. You want to know why? Because I can go find 10 people that are going to make $15 an hour and they're going to be the best employees ever. That's not the case. Great people are hard to find. Okay. So as a business owner, I'm going to sit there and say, well, you know what? I'm probably going to have to give you a raise. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe they don't. Does more responsibility come with that raise? Well, I would hope so, because in life, isn't that what life's all about? More responsibility, more money. You don't pay the CEO of a company because he's emptying out the garbage cans, do you? This is absurd. Everything the federal government touches and gets involved in, they destroy. And this is the next one. And it's going to kill the economy. It's going to kill the stock market. It's going to kill small business. It's going to increase your prices across the board. Everything you purchase is going to go up. And the only people that are going to benefit is this guy right here. This freaking guy right here. And it pisses me off. And I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional right now, but I am, because you know what? I worked my ass off to build a great business, and I have great employees, and I have great customers, and I want to continue to grow, and I want to continue to pay them well. But as a small business owner, I can't afford to pay somebody $40 an hour to clean a window if they're just cleaning a window. I can't afford to pay them $30 an hour to clean a window if they're just cleaning a window. I'm sorry, I can't, and I won't. And this is what this is bringing this to. And in turn, my customers' prices are going to have to go up. And then my customers are going to have to make a decision. Well, do I want to get my windows cleaned, or do I not want to? Or do I want to go to the next guy who might show up or might not show up? Some things I'm not even talking about here, people, is that as this number goes up, like what you pay your employees, so do all of your expenses as far as insurances go, okay? Workers' comp insurance is based upon payroll. Why? If you have 200 employees that make $20,000 a year, okay, what's that, $400,000 over the course of the year? Or if you have one employee that makes $400,000 a year, do you think the chances of those 200 employees getting injured on the job, percentage-wise, is a lot greater than the one employee? So as an employer, as we increase our employees' wages, we also increase our workers' comp. Not only our workers' comp, but also our general liability. Yeah, because general liability goes off of payroll too. Yeah, that goes up as well. Once again, based on the cost of payroll. That's what you don't understand. And then also, as our employees' wages go up, so does our employees' tax liabilities that we have to match. Hence, right here, I pay an employee who normally would make $31,200, and that's based upon this very low rate. Mine's much, much, much higher. An additional $2,400 a year. Multiply that by 10 employees, that's $20,000 extra a year. I'd much rather take that $20,000 extra a year and hire a 16, 17, 18-year-old who is a high school student and who just wants some part-time work, maybe May, June, July, August, September, till they go back to school, and maybe pay them that $20,000 rather than having to increase the cost across the board. It's ridiculous, it's irresponsible, and it's becoming a major issue. And elections have consequences, people. And sadly, you're starting to see them right now. Stock market down 600 points. It's the biggest drop since October, before there was bad news upon the vaccination. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This economy's done. Done. I'm scared for our future. But they're getting what they want. and you get what you vote for. So suck it up, Buttercup. You had a choice, and you chose the wrong one. That will be all for tonight. Thanks for viewing. Please share. Subscribe to my channel. Like my channel. I'm not doing this for money. I see some people out there who, I'll just leave it at that. All right, guys. Take care.